For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the first day of April 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, as much as possible, enjoyable evening. Those of you, again, who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, cyclist, operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads, we ask you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, even when you think that, well, I'm the only one on the road, so I can do whatever I want. No, you still have to observe the rules of the road. And always remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. And we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one in the past few days, want to wish you a happy birthday today or a belated happy birthday as well. Of course, it is April Fool's Day. I don't believe that anyone really should have the urge to bother with April Fool jokes, because we are dealing with a very serious situation in the Cayman Islands and worldwide as well. So we have to take life seriously, even though, you know, there has to be a light side to life as well. And for those of you who decide to choose the light side today, we just ask you again, please do it in moderation. Do it with a certain degree of sensitivity as well, because there are many people who are alarmed, who are scared, because many people don't know what the future holds for them as far as this COVID-19 virus is concerned. And remember, we all have to do our part in this, whether it has to do with social distancing or other issues. Again, we want to give a big shout out to all of those who are out there in the front lines helping to battle this virus. Those, whether you're a clerk in a grocery store, whether you're a taxi driver, a bus driver, of course, or medical services, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, the Coast Guard, the staff at the NEOC, everyone who is contributing to this fight. We want to thank you for the sacrifices that you're making, our political leaders, the governor of the Cayman Islands, all members of the Legislative Assembly, those persons who belong to various social groups and civic organizations, everyone really, they're all putting their shoulder to the wheel and to the wheel and doing their part. And just remember that every one of us, each and every one of us, has a part to play in this. We all do. And again, we urge you to do your part. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. And if you're fortunate to be able to work, whether it's at home or whether or not you're part of those essential services as well. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor. You're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines always are open. You can call us on our toll-free number that is provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261. You can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We expect to have MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, in the studio with us this morning. Meanwhile, what I will do is I will take the opportunity to update everyone on what has happened in the past few days, yesterday's press briefing, and I will go over the highlights of that press briefing as well. So on yesterday, the 31st of March, with two further positive results received yesterday, community transmission of the COVID-19 infections was confirmed. So we have now confirmed that there is community infection taking place with COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. Another highlight was that the British Airways flight will be bringing in vital equipment and returning Caymanians and persons with the right to reside either Monday or Tuesday of next week. I believe, and in looking at the newspapers, especially the Royal Gazette, there is some information in there that their governor has given in relation to it, pointing out that the flight will stop in Bermuda first before reaching the Cayman Islands. We'll be bringing Bermudans as well as needed supplies for Bermuda also. Another highlight in yesterday's press briefing was that those returning on the flight will be placed in mandatory isolation for 14 days upon arrival in Grand Cayman. Now, there has been, quite a bit of debate on social media and elsewhere in relation to the plight of returning residents. Some persons even questioning whether or not they should be allowed to return to the Cayman Islands, and we can have that the discussion here today as well, the pros and cons of that. And they pointed out that the date of the BA flight would be confirmed later this week. I believe we have a much closer date now as well, and we will talk about that as well. For the Cayman Islands leaders emphasized that with yesterday's confirmation of community transfer of the virus, following the protocols the government has in place, it is vital to keep down the spread within the Cayman Islands community as well. So that was highlighted. The first person to speak was the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee. He pointed out that out of the 13 results to report, 11 tested negative and 2 tested positive, neither of whom had a travel history. So that then confirmed the fact that there is community spread or community transfer in the Cayman Islands. He also pointed out that all should accept that COVID-19 is in the community. And I'm going to pause there for a second. So we all should now accept that the disease, the virus, is in the community. So you know what we all need to do now? We all need to act as if we have the virus. And if you think that way, then the need for social distancing will become so much more obvious if you act as if you have the virus. Those are my words. The chief medical officer also pointed out protocols of social distancing, keeping hands clean by washing with soap and water frequently, and staying home to minimize the spread of the virus must be followed stringently. I will repeat that again, what the protocols are. Social distancing, keeping hands clean by washing with soap and water frequently. This one is so important. Staying home. And if you do that, that will help to minimize the spread of the virus, right? The chief medical officer also pointed out that so far, 220 tested, 205 have tested negative, and 14 positive, with one inconclusive test result still awaited. Now, I wasn't at the press briefing, and I attempted to have this question asked of the chief medical officer or the medical officer for health. And unfortunately, it wasn't, and hopefully it may be asked today, because we keep hearing about the one inconclusive test result. What we haven't heard is, with that one inconclusive test result, the individual whose test is inconclusive, what is the condition of that individual now? Because while the test is important, I am sure that the person's condition is not just simply sitting there waiting for the test results to come back. And if it comes back and says definitely positive, then the person then starts again to show positive, positive effects of it. Or if it comes back negative, whether the person's condition doesn't wait for the results. What I'm trying to say is the person's condition does not wait for the results to come. So tell us in the meantime, that inconclusive test, what is the condition of that person while we wait for the results of that inconclusive test? That was one of the questions that if I were in the press briefing, would have asked the chief medical officer. And then he also pointed out that too many cars are still seen on the roads and that people need to stay home. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I will then continue and let you know what the Commissioner of Police had to say at yesterday's press briefing. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, The Cayman Islands, He Hath Founded It Upon the Seas.
Captain Swanson Curry Ebanks, 1914 through 1989. Curry Ebanks was the oldest of 10 children of John Audnett and Celestia Elvira Ebanks and attended West Bay Primary School. Taught by some of the great Caymanian sea captains, he took command of his first ship at 17. He qualified as a master mariner at 21 and continued his life at sea until a car accident terminated his maritime career in 1960. He married 3 times and was widowed twice, and he fathered 8 children. He is best remembered for his victorious battle with the 1944 hurricane, which overtook his ship, the Jemison, en route from Swan Island to Grand Cayman. At the height of the storm, he decided to demast the ship to prevent it from rolling over, which would have meant certain death for everyone aboard. During the next 8 days, the ship had to be demasted 3 times. Each time, Captain Curry had the sails put into a seaman's bag and attached to the bow to function as a sea anchor, guiding the ship purely by dead reckoning. When the storm subsided and he got his first confirmed sighting, he was 5 miles off East End.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Lots to talk about today, in relation to the COVID-19. I'm updating you on yesterday's press briefing, and we see other news release as well in terms of financial assistance to some work permit holders as well. We will discuss that. I'm sure that will be a very emotive, there will be emotive reaction to that as well. But we need to talk about it. I just want to remind people that when we talk about those things, we don't want to scapegoat anyone, and we have to bear in mind that we're all in this boat together, whether we're Caymanian, whether we're resident, whether or not we're work permit holders. The underlying, the thing that we have in common with each other is that we are all human beings. We are all God's children as well. So the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Derek Byrne, reported that with no significant issues and crime stable, the Cayman Islands was generally in full compliance with the hard curfew. And then he reported overnight that there had been no issues reported in Little Cayman or Cayman Brac. Various number of interceptions, no breaches of the curfew. In Grand Cayman, for instance, there were 154 interceptions, but only 5 were found in breach of them. They were all warned for prosecution for breach of curfew provisions. 2 of these were also found to be driving under the influence and will face additional charges. Don't know if we have enough space in the police lockup for them, but maybe we need to start to lock some of them up, and then that may teach them a lesson. During the soft curfew, the police commissioner pointed out yesterday that business at supermarkets, pharmacies, and banks was brisk but orderly. A small number were witnessed walking on the beach, but they were maintaining social distancing. He reiterated that the soft curfew does not allow any marine activity. And I think that is important because there are some people who are still inquiring as to whether or not they can fish, either by boat or can fish from the shore as well. But bear in mind that what the soft curfew allows you to do. It allows you to do shopping if you fall within the alphabet that is allowed for that date. Allows you to go to your bank. It allows you to go to the pharmacy. Allows you to exercise for no more than an hour and a half. And the number of persons exercising together should not exceed 2. So the soft curfew does not allow you to fish from the shore either, or to spare fish or anything. It is quite specific what the soft curfew allows you to do. The commissioner also pointed out that following yesterday's confirmation of community transfer of the virus, police would step up their vigilance in patrolling further, including more enforcement. So there will be more enforcement. And he also reminded about the penalties, breach of the soft curfew, $1,000 in fines and 6 months imprisonment, or 6 months imprisonment. For the hard curfew, breaches attract penalties of $3,000 in fines or 1 year imprisonment, or possibly both. And there was some concern that was raised in relation to trucks. Trucks caught speeding would be monitored and warned. There is no exemption for speeding. He pointed that out as well. And we're seeing quite a number of trucks on the roads of the Cayman Islands. We're made to understand that exemptions have been allowed for truckers who are taking aggregate for the airport project. So that is why we're seeing more of that. And those truckers need, again, to understand that they don't own the roads of the Cayman Islands. They're not the only vehicles on the road of the Cayman Islands. And because they have been given an exemption to be able to traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands and to work and to carry that aggregate, it does not give them a license to do as they please. And again, the contractor, the airport's authority, need to lay down the gauntlet for these drivers and let them know. And if complaints are received, then their contract, the individual contract that they have, should be terminated. So the Commissioner of Police may wish to set up a process by which He advises the contractor, Airports Authority, of these violations, the driver, the owner of the trucking company, and terminate their contract. These are hard times. Hard decisions have to be made. Hard penalties should be in place as well. We're almost at the top of the hour. Ms. Susan, you ready for the news yet? We're going to break for the news, hopefully. After the news break, we will have Mr. Kenneth Bryan, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, in the studio with us. If not, I have got lots and lots of material for you. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned, because we also want your participation.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 7:59.
Ask yourself this question: do I absolutely need to go to the supermarket today? If the answer is no, stay home. If you do need to head to the store today, follow these simple steps. Only allow one person to the store. Don't come in groups. We suggest leaving your kids at home and remind you that reusable bags are not allowed in store. Be sure to maintain a 6-foot distance between you and everyone else. Don't panic buy. Conserve what you've already bought. Pay by card. And most of all, be kind to one another. We're in this together, Cayman. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay happy.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you: Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location: Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. COVID-19 is spreading in the Cayman community. As you heard live on Radio Cayman, government officials announced the first confirmed cases of local transmission of the disease on Tuesday. Out of 13 results reported on Tuesday, 11 were negative, 2 were positive, neither of whom had a travel history. Government says protocols of social distancing, keeping hands clean by washing with soap and water frequently, and staying home to minimize the spread of the virus must be followed. So far, of the 220 tested, 205 have tested negative and 14 positive, with 1 inconclusive test results waiting. Despite the country seeing 2 more positive cases of COVID-19, His Excellency the Governor Martin Roper says because of early measures put in place by government, Cayman is in a good place to tackle any additional cases that emerge.
It's also worth saying that the very radical, drastic and early action taken by government does put us in a very good place to isolate any cases that now pop up, to do the tracing of who they've had contact with, and to do everything to suppress further spread.
During Tuesday's press briefing, Governor Roper says the safest place to be is at home, and an extra effort must be made to protect Cayman's vulnerable people. The Premier has urged the people of Cayman to stop panicking about the incoming flight from London. He stressed that government has gone to extraordinary measures to keep the country safe from the spread of COVID-19, and his comments came amid public concern over plans to repatriate Caymanians stranded in the UK. The Honourable Alden McLaughlin says he will not take any risks with the health and welfare of the people of the Cayman Islands.
I would hope and pray out there who's listening and watching, it would not enter their head that I or the government I lead or the governor would do anything which we thought was risky in terms of increasing the spread of this virus in this community. We keep preaching what people need to do. The virus is in the community. We now have absolute confirmation. The persons that are coming are going to be subjected to the kind of isolation that I wish we could put everybody on this island into, lock everybody away in a room for 14 days. But we can't even get them to stay home.
Premier McLaughlin said Cayman residents had a far greater risk of contracting the virus at a supermarket than from people returning from the UK who will be locked away for 14 days. The credit union announces the implementation of a new procedure to manage queues during current limited branch hours. Here's Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin with the details.
The credit union says the implementation of the new procedure is a direct response to government's latest announcement regarding crowding at banks and other essential businesses. Members will be able to visit both the Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac branches on certain days based on surname. Wednesday, April 1st, surname starting with A through K. Thursday, April 2nd, surname starting with L through Z, and Friday, April 3rd, members with all surnames. Credit union branch visitation based on surname will continue afterwards, Monday through Friday the week after, starting April 6th, for the duration of the shelter-in-place order. Monday and Wednesdays, those members with surname starting with A through K. Tuesdays and Thursdays, those members with surnames starting with L through Z. Fridays, members with all surnames. All are reminded that new hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. for elderly and immune comprised only, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. for general membership. Members arriving at the branches will be required to show a valid ID. Reporting for Radio Cayman's Financial News, I'm Dion Anglin.
In other news, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has announced the identity of the man who died in a fatal collision last Friday on Rex Crichton Boulevard. He was 41-year-old Trevin Sherwayne Garfield Roberts, a Guyanese national living in Cayman. And a 15-year-old Boddentown boy is missing. On Monday, police received a report that Jared Johnson had gone missing on March 25th and has not returned home or been seen since. You can find his photo on our website, radiocayman.gov.ky. If you have any information about where he might be, you're encouraged to call 947-2220. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. Global stock markets have fallen again after President Trump warned of hard days ahead for the United States, where the virus outbreak has worsened. Tokyo's Nikkei ended the day 4.5% lower, while the main indices in European markets were down between 3 and 4% in mid-morning trade. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Value Med Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop Value Med for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken share.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken share.
I am not a chicken
Whoa, I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me? The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Water Authority Cayman's Grand Cayman office is closed until further notice and will only be providing emergency and essential services at this time. Customers in Grand Cayman who experience service interruption should call the authority's emergency hotline 946-4357. Customers in Cayman Brac who require trucked potable water can continue to make requests by calling 948-1403 between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. Interaction with the authority's customer service team will be limited, but customers can still make queries via email at info@waterauthority.ky. However, there may be a delayed response time. If you need to pay a bill, you can do it online by visiting our website, waterauthority.ky, and clicking on the Pay My Bill button. You can also make a payment via your bank. For updates and important messages from the Water Authority, visit our website, waterauthority.ky, and our social media pages.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tip. If persons have policy questions, you can go to gov.ky and click on coronavirus. Be in the know. You can find the latest advice and guidance for households, businesses, and schools, as well as advice pertaining to older persons or persons with chronic diseases. You can also email questions to flu@hsa.ky or the hotline numbers of 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/coronavirus. The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning. Time for your weather check. Synopsis indicate light winds and smooth seas are expected over the next 24 hours as a cold front moves across the Gulf of Mexico, resulting in a slack pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show no showers around the Cayman Islands. Now the forecast for today and tonight, calling for mainly fair skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s today and will fall to the low 70s tonight. Your winds will be westerly at 5 knots or less, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Low tide will occur this morning at 10 minutes past 11, high tide this afternoon at 4 minutes after 4, and a low tide again tonight at 10:33. The sun will set this evening at 6:38 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:19. And the outlook is calling for light westerly winds expected to continue through Friday morning, with an increase in cloudiness and chance of showers from tomorrow morning as a weak cold front moves over the Cayman area.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking. Change your life. Emotions are an ever-present, pressing, and sometimes painful force in our lives. However, when we react to emotional triggers immediately, it can have unexpected and unwanted consequences. When you notice yourself becoming emotional, take a deep breath and bring yourself back to the moment. Continue to breathe deeply as you feel your muscles untense and your heart rate return to normal. As you become calmer, affirm to yourself that this is only temporary. You are safe.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong series was brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS BRAC Agency in Cayman Brac. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman.
Rumors and misinformation will not help us tackle the coronavirus. Remember, you can check on www.gov.ky/coronavirus to see trusted and up-to-date guidance from the experts. This page is being continually updated and should become your first port of call for the facts. Please do your part to avoid scare tactics and fake news. This government is not complacent. We will continue to prepare tirelessly, make the necessary decisions required in the best interests of the health and safety of our people. You may feel worried, scared, or stressed about the serious nature of COVID-19, but we can and will overcome this public threat. Again, remember to cover your cough and sneezes, wash your hands often, and avoid close contact with persons, especially if they're showing signs of respiratory illness. Please stay safe, and may God continue to bless the Cayman Islands.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. And before I introduce him, I just want to share with you what one of our listeners has sent and say that they read this and they thought it would be good to share with everyone in these trying times. Buddha said in 563 BC, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burnt when you do that. So I want to thank that writer for that. Mr. Bryan, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. And like the good minister from for health, good morning, the 3 Cayman Islands, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Particularly good morning to Georgetown Central. I hope that all of you woke up with good health and good spirits this morning. I know it's some difficult times that we're facing, but remembering that we're going to do this together and that you're not alone is a key part, as well as being informed on how you get through this. Mm-hmm. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thankfully that we can still do this process of informing the people. I think we are 6 feet apart. Yes, we're not breaking any regulations, nope. So we won't get fined or anything. I look forward to talking to the people today, but mainly to hear from the people. I want to hear some calls today so I can try my best to answer the questions. And here's why I want to focus on a lot of calls today, OC. I believe, unfortunately, sometimes information is misconstrued in respect to the press conference. I must say the CMO isn't the greatest with his average man talk. Like I think, and I hope the medical staff is listening, but he needs to break down a lot of his terminologies. I realize that even me as a legislator don't know much about the medical terminology. I had to find out what PPE is. And it's actually personal protection equipment. Yeah. But they I understand they're under a lot of stress, but we got to recognize there's many different people with many different educational capacities, and the information is important to all of them. So we have to speak like we're speaking to a seventh grader in respect to the understandings of what's going on. So hopefully, if there's any misunderstandings of what's happening in the press conferences, I think I have a good grasp of where and what the government is trying to do, so we can talk about it in layman's terms this morning. I brought all the press conference press releases. I have all my notes because I've been paying attention to every single press briefing. And if there's any questions, particularly from my Georgetown Central constituents and any Caymanian, I would like to try to see if we can help answer them, or even questions that haven't been addressed, what I think they should do, and hopefully we can hear more from the public about their concerns. Certainly.
Well, my intention was to continue to share with the public the details from the press briefing. Yes. But I'm thinking about it, a different approach to it, and you tell me whether or not you would want to take this approach. I will read the highlights of what was said by each participant, and then you may want to comment on that particular, sounds like a good idea. That particular topic. So, for instance, the premier always start off his briefing by giving an update on the world statistics, which I think is good, for people. Then he pointed out that government's purpose in establishing the air bridge from the United Kingdom to Cayman to the Cayman Islands was to bring testing supplies and other vital and needed equipment to Cayman. It would also allow people in Cayman who wish to return, given the situation now in the islands, a chance to leave these shores, which in turn would allow government to better manage the crisis here. So let's talk about that one first. So the air bridge. Part was it to bring testing supplies and other vitally needed equipment to the Cayman Islands, but also to allow people in Cayman who wish to return, given the situation now in the islands, a chance to leave these shores.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I just to give a little bit of background, in my constituency, those who I have numbers for via WhatsApp, I send them what we call a key point message, because not everybody should, but not everybody does listen to the whole press conference. And in that, I had to send out a short message of explaining what the key points were. And it was hard to explain to people about the whole flight. I did as well as I could, just basically saying the flight was intended for supplies and test kits, but we're also going to try to use that flight to try to get Caymanians who desperately need to come home and those who desperately need to leave. Now, one of the things that wasn't covered yesterday, but I can only make a speculation as to the circumstances, is that this is for persons who live to the east, not to the Western Hemisphere, because it's a BA flight that will be going to London. Now, you may have a lot of UK nationals and potentially some Filipinos and Indians and Asians who may take another flight from London onwards, but that's if those flights are available. So
if their borders aren't closed to the country that they're going to. Yeah, exactly.
So it's important that we clarify that this morning, because they didn't do that on the radio, on the press conference, because it's not for Canadians, it's not for Americans, it's not for potentially people from Mexico area or Honduras. This flight is for persons who are going to the Asian and European countries that may possibly have a connecting flight through London, because the flight is only going from here to, not Bahamas, actually it's going to Bermuda. It's coming from London to Bahamas, from Bahamas to Cayman.
I think it's the other way. It's coming from London to Bermuda. It's stopping in Bermuda first.
Okay,
because remember,
sorry.
it'll come across the Atlantic and then travel south. So Bermuda has pointed out it'll come to Bermuda first.
Okay, my apologies. So they're going to try to pick up some UK nationals on the way as well to try to get them back home. But ultimately, the governor did highlight that if there's UK nationals or other nationals who can find a connecting flight back home, like for instance, persons from Asia and the Philippines, because we have a lot of Filipinos here who are on work permit, that if they want to try to use that flight, that they can call the travel hotline, which let me take this opportunity to reiterate what it is. It is, as far as I know, local number is 244-3333. That is 244-3333. So if you're a work permit holder who recognizes that you will no longer have any work and you want to try to get back home and you live in those areas, please call that number 244-3333, or you can email emergencytravel@gov.ky. So that covers that part. Now, I think the government also stressed the importance of the concern of people saying, well, why are we bringing people back home? And the risk levels that it would create for the country. I think the premier and the governor handled that pretty well. And the key point of that he said was, if it was your child, would you want to leave your child at home? If you have no children, your children are safe. You probably see it from a different perspective. As the premier and the leader of the country, you have to get all your people home. I know it may sound risky, but I think that they outlined all the risk factors and they have them all covered, so they should be able to handle that.
Yeah, there is a moral obligation. And there is a legal obligation as well. As a matter of fact, I see in one of the Eastern Caribbean countries, Trinidad, I believe it is, where some people who have been unable to return to Trinidad because of logistics and everything else, and I think they were stuck in Barbados for a while. Some may have gone to Suriname. And they're now considering taking legal action against the government for not allowing them in. But also, what the premier has also pointed out, the safeguards that will be put in place. There will be mandatory, isolation. There will be quarantine. They will be put in a government-provided facility, not left to their own, on a system to decide whether or not, because we've seen all over the world people have been violating that. Yes. So, those things are in place, but they are people that we're loving back. Yeah. Some people, you hear some people say, well, why didn't they come when they had the opportunity? I don't believe that. I believe that many people didn't really grasp the severity of the situation, and they realize what is happening now. Things are in the UK are not getting better, they're getting worse as well. Ms. Susan is telling us we have a caller. Let's grab that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Mr. Brian.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I think that one of the things we could do with this virus thing is that, I don't know, they said that they found 2 people that had it that hadn't traveled. Now, I was told by someone there was one person from West Bay. Now, I don't know where they got that, but that's what they said. So I don't have to spread any rumors, but that's what they were saying, that it was one of these people from West Bay. Now, I wonder, does government, when they find out these things, do they go around and tell the people, their neighbors, that they might have been connected with, that have been close to them and stuff like that, that they could, they don't have to make it public or anything, but I mean, you go to these people and say, look, it'll be to your benefit if we can give you have you tested and make sure you don't have anything.
Yeah, there's something called contact tracing, and that is being done in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, okay, because I think I see some neighborhoods down here in West Bay that the houses are 3-4 feet apart. And if one of these people have it, then, like everybody, that's probably talking all day, and they're not saying 6 feet apart. Kind of thing. So these kind of things worry me. But the thing I want to talk about this morning is, we'll see, and maybe Kenneth can do something about this. But we got a company here that I use called Flow. And I went by the office the other day. They weren't up down in Galleria. They weren't open. They have a thing on the door saying that they're been closed until further notice, and they give you this number to call. Now I ran out of because I don't have I pay my phone. Like,
well, under the regulations, are they actually allowed to be open?
Well, if they got their grocery stores open, I don't see why they can't be open.
Well, the government has provided a list of those essential services, and I believe I heard about another company that still have their staff working remotely, working from home, whether or not the company that you have mentioned does that as well.
No, they got this thing on the door and tells you the number to call.
Mm-hmm.
And I called that number yesterday because my son is up in Tampa, right? And I want to be able to contact him, so I want to get the internet thing so I can talk to him on WhatsApp and stuff. And because nobody's there, when I called, I must have been about 10 times now. After this morning, just before I called you, I called them again.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Nobody is here. Nobody is available to take your call. And that don't look good because that's the number they gave, and I checked the number 100 times to make sure it's the right number. So I don't know if Kenneth has any influence or anything like this, but they got to do something about this because, I mean, and the thing is, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I can call, if I call the United States online or from the, like regular line, you get you can get 20-something cents a minute. If you call from one Cayman phone to the next, if you don't have that prepaid or postpaid thing, you're paying 40 cents a minute or something like that.
Well, caller, can I see if I can assist you here? Flow has always been quite good with their performance, particularly with me as a personal customer. And I also see that they're the only provider who have stepped up and actually are sending out broadcast in respect to information about COVID-19. And they did that after I was on another show last week. So I'm proud of them for that. I also know one of the senior persons in that company. If you just give Miss Susan your number, I will see if I can get somebody to give you a contact because it's important for you to be able to speak to your son. And I'm quite sure somebody can call you and try to figure out what kind of plan they need to upgrade you to. Maybe it's just a fact that there's so many people who want to talk to their people at home why you can't get through. But I don't think it's intended because Flow has always tried to make sure that their customers are happy. Yeah. They've been the first one around from Cable and Wireless days. So if you leave your number, I will do my endeavor best to first call you myself and then let you know what is going to happen to try to help you, sir. Okay?
All right, man. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Ms. Susan, make sure you get his number for me, please.
Thank you very much, caller, for that as well. There's one other thing that he said, in terms of the persons that have tested positive, and we have seen a reluctance by the chief medical officer to give out any information. I can understand the whole issue of, giving out personal information, but he is also reluctant to say what area of the Cayman Islands these persons live in. Yeah. Now, at some point in time, those details, something is going to have to come out. One of the questions that I have, and I wanted to talk about this morning, is the modeling for the Cayman Islands. We see every country developing some model in terms of data tracking. Mm-hmm. We know that testing, for instance, gives you the quantitative information that you need. Have we developed a model for the Cayman Islands? And if we haven't, then when are we going to do it? I even went further and I went back and I looked at the credentials, and I'm not saying this in a negative way because I like to do my research.
I know where you're going.
I went and looked at the credentials based on newspaper reports when the chief medical officer was appointed to that position. I don't believe that he's an entomologist. I'm not sure what Dr. Samuel Williams' qualifications are in that regard. Are we relying solely on Public Health England to do these things for us, the advice that they're given? We know that they did come down to the Cayman Islands and say what we were doing it right. We might have been doing it right for that time and the stage that we were at. Are we still consulting with them? Are they still telling us that we're doing it right? I would like to see a model for the Cayman Islands. Now, whether or not we have enough in terms of the number of infections that we have and the rate, we may not have enough data yet for that. But again, this is where I believe that testing will help to give us that data. And my question is, do we need to employ more specialized persons? Do we need to rely more on PAHO or whatever? These press briefings tell the people those things, explain it to them. You may say that, well, not everyone can understand. Those that can understand can put it in layman's language for the rest of them. I have to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tip. What is coronavirus? The novel coronavirus, COVID-19, is a new strain of coronavirus that has not been previously identified in humans. What are the symptoms? Common symptoms include respiratory symptoms of fever, cough, shortness of breath, breathing difficulties. In severe cases, coronavirus can cause pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, and kidney failure. How soon do symptoms occur? Symptoms occur 2 to 10 days after a person has been exposed. Is there a vaccine against coronavirus? Currently, there is no vaccine to protect against COVID-19. When a disease is new, it takes up to a few years for a new vaccine to be developed. For information, you can email questions to flu@hsa.ky or call one of the hotline numbers of 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. I just want to clarify something here in terms of what I said. And I'm not apologizing in any way. I just want to clarify the fact that, yes, we applaud the government for what is being done. We applaud all of the authorities for what they're doing because they're doing the best that they can with what we have. My question is, do we have the best for what we have? And if we need to get more, then we should get more. If the advice that you're getting and you're following all of the guidelines and you're getting a stamp of approval from PAHO, you're getting it from Public Health England, then that is fine. But I believe, and I'm who am I? But when we look at the severity of the situation, when we look at the increases, and we have been told in the Cayman Islands, we can expect increases in numbers, as well. Then we need to up our game, because we're reaching a different level in the Cayman Islands, in the situation in the Cayman Islands. It's starting to ramp up, and we need to ramp up our game as well.
Agreed. Osi, but firstly, to answer your question, when you say, who am I? Well, you're a Caymanian. You're a host. You have a duty to your people. I know you love your people, and you're a long-standing, good, straight civil servant who have the right to ask that question. So there you go. That's enough for me to allow you to, or to give you authority to ask that question.
Well, Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, where he's been put in charge of the Middle East crisis, and he said he read 24 books. On it. That's what gave him the qualification. I can say that I read probably about 15 or 20 newspapers for the day online, and go to different countries, see what's happening and stuff like that. Because research is one of my passions.
Yeah. To be in the know. But in respect to what you've said about the graph and where we are at strategically and what's the numbers showing. I just did a quick calculation out of 65,000 people, and I think it's a lot smaller now at this particular point. With only 14, we're not even at a 20% of a percent. So not even 8% yet of those who are infected, much less those who have passed. We have had no deaths directly related to our community. So I'm not sure that there can be any graph planning, but I think I agree with you with much of the unfortunate delivery of the CMO's data. And this is not to criticize, but I'm concerned about the information that is relayed and how it's relayed, and it seems to be very limited. The Premier has mastered one thing very well, is understanding that there's various different types of people who are going to ask you questions. He recognizes that some questions are silly, but he can't say that they're silly. The fact is somebody's asking it. And I think the CMO should recognize that, for one, he's talking to a nation of people, and that there's different understandings, and he has to be rational with his answers. He can't just say no or I'm not going to answer that, but give the logic behind it and talk more in a common man's term, because I must say, most people that I've spoken to after the press conferences said the only thing I pay attention to in respect to the CMO's information is the fact that do we have more numbers or not, because they get lost in a lot of the terminologies of what he's saying. So there's easy ways to break it down to a common man's way. So, but I agree with you. We're eventually going to want to see the graphing. Even the Donald Trump and his administrators have even started doing graphing now for everybody to see visually where we're at, where we're going. So I expect that to be done here in Cayman within short order.
Okay. So the Premier also pointed out that given the community transmission, now there are far greater risk of someone in the community getting the virus from going to the supermarket or to the bank or other public places than from returning passengers. So he pointed out, and he has that's a point there, because the returning passengers, they have made it quite clear that there will be mandatory, quarantining for them. And of course, the Premier also pointed out and urged that following the protocols such as social distancing, not touching one's face, and frequent hand washing is vital in keeping the disease from spreading further. He pointed out that our health is in our hands. We need to stay home, Cayman, and stay safe. The Premier also outlined government's financial support to vulnerable Caymanians in need that has been provided so far, and that there have been 81 new applications received by the needs assessment unit as well.
Yeah,
so
I
that's the premier, and later on we can talk about what the governor said as well. But several items there that you may want to
I want to
comment
talk
on.
specifically to the last one, which says the premier also outlined the government's financial support to the vulnerable Caymanians in need that has been provided for so far, and that there have been 81 new applications to the needs assessment unit. Okay, now I think that's a drop in the hat as to those who are in need. And what I would like to see, and if anybody's listening, I think the councillor is Austin Harris, and Honourable Premier is the minister, and the very well led NAU is done by Ms. Tamara Hurlston. What I'm concerned about is that people have to recognize there's not a lot of persons out there who can do the competencies that is necessary for the data that needs to be collected by the NAU. So basically, the NAU has a process in order to approve you to give you help. That process includes a lot of data and information, your bill, where you work, whether you have insurance, whether you're married to a Caymanian, if you're not married to a Caymanian, who live in your house, where the water bill receipts, all of those things that they need to help them make an assessment to whether they're going to help you or not. Two things with that. One, the availability to get those things now with the restrictions that are available out there, because many of those companies are not open to the public, so they won't be able to get them. And secondly, there's a lot of people whose educational abilities are limited, meaning able to fill out a form or have access to those things electronically, or be able to scan and send them in. So there's a lot of limitations available for Caymanians to do these things. And Caymanians are very proud people already, you know. There's already this stigma about, well, what you ask me all these questions for? The questions are necessary, but we have to be able to give it. The process for needs assessment unit application was already hard without the restrictions. It's even harder now with the restrictions available whereby you can't get the data. So I'm hoping that one of the suggestions I would suggest is that the government helps the ministry, that department, with more staffing to be able to do a lot of these applications verbally with that commitment, because there's some people out there who can't do it. And here's where things comes a bit tricky, because as a legislator, I have an office, and normally my office would be the ones who are helping in my constituency. But my office is not open now because of the restrictions of being able to be in distance from each other. So who will normally help those who can't read so well or can't do these forms or don't have those types of receipts and don't really pay attention to their bank account details, not the things that are needed on these forms? Somebody has to almost, like I guess the old saying goes, hold your hand through this. And I don't see that option is available through needs assessment, and they need it, because if a person said, listen, I just want, I got my rent is all right, my light is all right, I just want to get some food. Because we don't have a tax system that collects all this information already and knows the person's standing, it's almost like they have to go through all of that just to get $200 of a food voucher. And I know that sounds weird, because we definitely have to verify that these people are in need. But it has to be a little bit easier, especially for those who have those educational difficulties, or have those difficulties getting all that information to them. So that's just one of those things I'm a bit worried about, because a lot of people that I know are being left behind because they're are scared or are shunned away by the difficulty of the process to get help. So those who are most, and those are usually people who are most in need. So I hopefully those who are listening will take that into consideration and figure it out, because like the Premier has said, the hard-hitting request to the NAU hasn't started yet. 81 new applications is just a drop in the hat. Once persons' little savings have depleted, I can guarantee you within the next week to 2 weeks, the request to the needs assessment unit is going to skyrocket. Once people realize, oops, all my money's gone out of the account and there's no more coming in.
Yep. Time for us to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan will continue after this short commercial break.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000. This is a message from the Port Authority Cayman. Due to space limitations, it will issue an exemption letter to allow persons that have imported cargo to clear and collect their goods. If you would like to request an exemption for collection of cargo only, you are asked to call the Port Authority Billing Office on 949-2055. That's 949-2055. The exemption letter will be for a specified date and time and is valid only for the collection of cargo. 6 feet social distancing must be practiced at all times during collections.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. One of our listeners has responded in relation to the comments that I made about modeling for the Cayman Islands. And they pointed out that there must have been some modeling because either the minister or the premier mentioned that if they didn't take action when they did, deaths could have been around 800 in the Cayman Islands, and that is correct. But since that was stated, we to my knowledge, I haven't seen any sorts of graphs or anything like that pointing or anything or any new projections we see where Donald Trump in the United States, and we can't compare Cayman to the United States in any way, but we see now when certain modeling, I think there were three models, and one was from a UK university that showed that if they had done absolutely nothing, anywhere between 1.6 and 2.2 million deaths. Based on what they have done so far, and if they continue to do that, they may be able to limit the deaths in the U.S. between 100,000 and 200,000. Those are the kind of updates that we need, but I still maintain that until we get some robust testing being done in the Cayman Islands, and I understand there are only about 500 test kits here. Yeah. We know that Doctors Hospital is supposed to be putting something online as well. Whether or not we get more test kits from the United Kingdom, we see a lot more being developed, so our access to those may be more. But I believe in the Cayman Islands with a population of 60,000, I don't believe it's any more than that, about 60,000, that we can get it right or almost right.
I'm optimistic about that, and that's why that BA flight coming in is so important, because one of the things that you've noticed is that they haven't announced exactly how much is coming from the UK yet. Mm-hmm. And thank God we got 500 or 480 from the United States. How that was sourced, I don't know, and I'm glad that we got them. But from a ratio perspective of the Caymans, percentage-wise, it's a very small amount, and we need to get more. I'm hoping that the UK is going to send at least 2,000 or 3,000, because that's what we would need to really get some tracing testing done, meaning not only those who come in sick, but if a person is sick, that you can trace back the 7, 8 family members they've been in contact with and make sure that they are under quarantine, they don't have it either. But I think the government and the medical staff acknowledge that what they can do is limited based on the amount of tests that they have available. And if we're not getting the testing, the question has to be, what are they doing to get these tests? Not from a criticism perspective, but just to convince the country that they're doing everything possible to get these tests to Cayman, because it will change the type of approach that we use to fight this virus is based upon how much tests we have. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I don't want the government to think that I'm trying to be difficult in any capacity. But the CMO cannot say, I don't have that information before me, or my file is over there, I don't have my file with me. You're supposed to come prepared at every press conference with every bit of data that you have in front of you, unless obviously you've established that you can't release that information because of some reason or the other. Now, we know that there's going to be some of that, but sometimes I wonder if he's not recognized that you're talking to a nation and that everybody's going to have questions, and there's circumstances where I don't have the information with me, or I didn't bring it. I'm just unsettled with that approach, and I'm not trying to create a difficulty, but you are talking to a nation that have high expectations to know what's going on. They're paying attention, and it's, for the first couple of weeks, there was a little murmurs here and there in comments, but now it's becoming a situation where people are quite unhappy with the lack of information that is coming from the chief medical officer. So I just implore him, please come more prepared with your answering. I right now, all we're basically getting is updates as to whether we have it or not. And OC, I think that's unfair. There's a lot more questions that are answered. But the two things is, come with everything that you have and be prepared for those questions. And secondly, remember that you're not talking to people in the medical field. You're talking to an average person who knows nothing about medicine that are across this country. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, excellent. I think I have about 4 minutes left that we can go on to what the governor said in the press briefing yesterday as well. We have a caller. I'm sorry. Let's grab that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I'll wait till after your news break. I'll hold on. My phone. I can't take the 4 minutes. I'll wait till after.
We have 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes still.
No, I might take 5 minutes.
Take the advantage of it now, please.
Yes, good morning. No disrespect anyone out there. At OC, we got about 30,000 people on work permit here in this Cayman Island. And we got a hell of a crisis going on right now. It could get worse here in the Cayman Islands down the line, which I say it never do. But what I'm saying here this morning is that if and when this ever subsides, I think the government need to go and put something in place for all of these workers, that the bosses and the employees, the employers, to have something in the making for every one of their staff, that they pay X amounts of dollars on a weekly basis into some little account that he may gather there for them. So when anything happens here in Cayman, that 30,000 people does not become a problem to the government. And when I say a problem, to the fact of the matter, the government got their own people to take care of. And I feel if someone come here and work on a permit, it can go to the union on a daily or weekly basis and stay at home and not securing themselves if anything happen here in Cayman. I think the government needs to look into that and make the employee do it at some sort of type steering for them, take away every week from their salaries of $50. Put it aside, it's belongs to Tom Jones, that belongs to Harry. Anything happens, the boss got their money for them or let them open an account and the boss sends it to the account for them on a weekly basis. So this doesn't happen that Cayman has to try to take care of 60,000 people, and we probably got about 75 to 30,000 Caymanians. And like Brian says, some of them can't go there and apply for it the way that they wanted to do electronic this and electronic that, and it makes the individual feel defeated and embarrassed. And well, I'll never get nothing because I can't do the electronic, and I don't have anyone to do electronic for me. You understand where I'm coming from? You need to have somebody on the sideline that when we got those type of people, that they can go to an office and sit in there, and that individual by that desk bringing Tom, Dick, and Harry one by one and fill out that application form for this. So
but you realize that in this situation, because of the social distancing and stuff like that, that's what makes it very difficult to be able to do that.
Well, if that's the case, then do not have them fill out no form. Give them something to survive until they can better do.
So it should be done without any means testing whatsoever.
Those that is the dying need that doesn't have an electronic, that is not in the greatest of writing and reading and all that kind of stuff. Just hand them a couple of $100 or something to get them by. And when this is all over, then you can go back then and assess those same people and see if they was really took the money and put it to good use. And I wouldn't say give them money, say give them a gift card to go to Foster to do shopping. Instead of give them money, you're going to go and buy cigarettes, you're going to go and buy liquor and sell, and you know what I mean? Don't give them any cash. Give them a gift card to go to the grocery store, you know, that they can't buy no liquor, no cigarettes, and so forth like that. But I really believe that the bosses for these employees needs to start doing some type of savings for these people. We got here 30,000 people on the work permit.
And those persons themselves, like you said, instead of sending all of their money home, they need to keep something for themselves here for a rainy day also.
Exactly, and they're not doing that. That's why I'm saying now that the government needs to put something in place with immigration, that these people, the boss make them collect a payment from their salary every week, every month, so they can have it put aside. Because once they get it, they're going to spend it or send it overseas. So they all... I have heard a lot of rejoicing going on. Oh, God, they're going to take care of me now. It's about time and blah, 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 blah. You understand? So we better be careful, because let me tell you something, Osi. When I need help, I'm going to see what to do until they help me, because I can show my papers. Yep. You understand?
Yep.
But anyhow, thanks a million. And
thank you very much.
Brian, we can't hear exactly what that plane is bringing when it comes to supplies, and that's what that I can't hear. But anyhow, I really feel too that when they're giving that information, they could say, well, you know, Barton Town, you know, East End, West Bay. They don't have to call the name of the individual, but let us be more aware of how to walk around and go around in a certain area if it's in that area. But it's all spread in our apartment. But still, I think they go on there with a lot of no disrespect to them. I think they're doing a great job, but they got us in the dark. I don't think we don't deserve that. We're in the dark to a certain extent.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. Top of the hour, 9 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, you know, on my island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access. Information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Police need your help to track down a 15-year-old boy who has been missing since March 25th. You can find a photo of Jared Johnson on our website, radiocayman.gov.ky. If you know where he is, you're encouraged to call Boddentown Police on 947-2220. With a summary of the latest COVID-19 information, Spain records a record daily death toll of 864 as Europe passes another grim milestone in the pandemic. The official death toll in Iran is now more than 3,000. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Americans to follow guidelines, calling it a, quote, matter of life and death. The U.S. death toll has surpassed 4,000, and there are fears that as many as 200,000 people could die there. A British national is among 4 people to have died on a virus-hit Zaandam cruise ship, and there are now more than 800,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 around the world. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Mr. Bryan, I guess, based on the conversations that we're having and that most recent one, we can share this release that was issued as well. Government continues to provide for those in need, and it reads, in addition to the nearly $3 million already approved by Cabinet to assist the most vulnerable, elderly and disabled Caymanians, government continues to provide for residents negatively affected by COVID-19. Emergency supplementary funding recently approved by Cabinet will provide temporary food assistance. I'm going to repeat that. This supplementary funding recently approved by Cabinet will provide temporary food assistance to non-Caymanians who qualify. They have to qualify and are unable to leave the Cayman Islands or who find themselves out of work due to the impact of COVID-19. Work permit holders who urgently require food supplies and who have insufficient income or savings to sustain themselves may now be eligible for a $150 food voucher effective Wednesday, the 1st of April, 2020. Those who qualify can apply by downloading the non-Caymanian COVID-19 support application form. So it's a specific form. It is a non-Caymanian COVID-19 support application form. Alternatively, forms can be collected from the various supermarkets and gas stations in Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. Completed forms should be emailed to CIGCOVID support@gov.ky or left in the drop box outside the Customs and Border Control Office, formerly the Cayman Islands Immigration Headquarters on Elgin Avenue. So that has been issued by the Ministry of Community Affairs. And they will be provided with a voucher, not cash. They will be provided with a voucher.
I'm going to comment on this one as well, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I applaud the government for taking responsibility for our humanity. Yes, I think this is the right approach to helping those who are out of work on work permit. But one thing I am not happy about is as a politician and as a Caymanian, I would never send out this release without attaching also, whether it's just to reiterate again what you're doing for your people first, along with this press release, because what the natural reaction is, okay, yeah, that's good. What are you doing for the work permit holders? What you're doing for your people is the next question. Now,
well, I think they preface that by talking about the $3 million that approved for vulnerable and disabled Caymanians.
Okay, so let's think about that for a minute, right? Because what was announced was a while back, and if somebody heard this for the first time, they won't know about what is available to them. So, for instance, you missed the first press release. People talk about questions or stupid questions, or questions have already been answered. Not everybody pays attention all the time, every day. Mm-hmm. So it's important because I'll give you an example. I sent this out via my WhatsApp broadcast for my constituents. And somebody got really upset. I said, Kenneth, what the hell are you sending this to me for? What are you telling me about what they're doing for work permit holders? What are they doing for me? And I had to...
So they hadn't been following what was being done for Caymanians.
Obviously. But this is why it is important. When you're in leadership positions, and I'm not suggesting that the government did this, but when anybody is taking responsibility for this, we have to think about these little small things. You have to put Cayman first and what they're doing for Caymanians. And it's not that we're trying to make it difficult. I want to help work permit holders too, but my obligation is to protect my people first. and it has to be reiterated. Break it down how that $3 million works, who does it work for, and how can you apply. Then we can get on to the work permit holders. That's how I see it.
So you're not disputing the fact that the government is doing something for Caymanians. It's
of
just
course
that,
not.
that they need to ensure that gets out. I believe we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Hopefully. Okay, so it's important to point out that those will be in the form of a voucher.
Yes.
That there will be some sort of means testing. You have to show that you will qualify for it. And but the thing that gets me with this is we need to know, and we're not hearing it. And maybe the Chamber of Commerce should come out and say, or maybe they have, I may not have seen it, what their members, what the business community, we know what some of the businesses are doing for their employees, what others are doing for their employees as well, what the landscaping company is doing for their employee, even what the person who has a domestic helper, what they're doing as well. I believe we have the callers now, 2 calls actually. Let's take the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Mr. Brian.
Good morning, sir.
You're making me Irish now, O'Connor.
My name is Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How everybody's okay?
Good.
One quick question. These commercial fishing boats that come into Cayman, that is Cayman fishing boats, I am an owner of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The government is giving us a hard time with these to bring in the boats to dispatch the fish.
Yeah.
They lock down the fish market. They tell us we can't sell no fish out here. Some of the restaurants closed down that I curse my fish to.
Mm-hmm.
The hotels, they locked down. Foster's can't take all of the fish. Hurley's can't take all it. So I went to the governor. I saw the governor Sunday. I went about the government building. I saw the governor Sunday, and I explained to him what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He haven't get back to me. Nobody haven't get back to me. Mr. Eric Bush was supposed to call me. He haven't called me neither.
Caller, if I can, I understand your concern about the ability to sell your product. If you recall, we spoke for a while. I came out there and saw you and some of the other gentlemen. I'm sad to hear that Mr. Bush hasn't called you yet. He did promise to reach out to you, and I've spoken to the governor myself. To reach out to you guys to figure out what the game plan is moving forward because of the circumstances you're in. As you know, my view was that I think you provided an essential service because you sell meat, which is by fish, and supply just as much as a supermarket does. But obviously the government is taking into consideration all the safety circumstances. I've expressed to the government that you guys were willing to put in the necessary procedures in place, just like a supermarket with a 6 feet distancing, and even were willing to hire a security guard, according to the group of you guys when I spoke to you. That information is with Cabinet and with the senior person, Mr. Eric Bush, to make recommendations as to how to address the circumstances of your guys' livelihood as well as your stock of fish that you have. If Mr. Bush hasn't called you guys back yet, I'm a bit disappointed with that, and I will make another call again to the Cabinet office as to find out why. If they're not going to decide to allow you guys to be out there, just be honest about it or rectify the opportunity, because of course the Premier has said, you guys shouldn't go out there and try to get more fish. If you need help with anything, go to the needs assessment unit. They will assist you through that. But if you do have a stock of fish available now, and it can help provide the society with good fresh fish, just like the supermarket would, and you can put in those protocols in place, I see no difference under the regulations because you're a supplier of food. Now, the regulation speaks about supplier of food, and I encourage you to ask a good friend who may be a lawyer to look at the regulations as to what you do, because I was quite surprised based on what the Attorney General said in respect to being a supplier of a good, whether or not you were exempt or not. But what we need to do is find a common ground on a solution to this. And the only way we can do that for you guys to be able to get rid of your stock and be able to provide those fish to the public in a safe way is to discuss it with you and the rest of the fishermen. So I'm surprised the government hasn't reached back out to you guys yet, because I know that you emailed them. I know that they are aware of your circumstances. Why they haven't called you, I'll give Mr. Eric Bush another call this morning to ask him why they haven't reached back out.
Chris, exactly what are your expectations from the government? What are you looking to be able to do? Tell us, now that you have the opportunity to do that, exactly what, because it is important for us to balance and to determine what the expectations that the fishermen have out there, whether or not they're reasonable expectations or not. What are the expectations?
Well, as we all know, it's the country come first. We understand we're dealing with that crisis right here now.
Mm-hmm.
And the supermarkets can only take a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
The hotels locked down, the restaurants them locked down. Out by the fish market, we play a big role in Cayman too. Cause not everybody eat meat in Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
So you want the government to be able to allow you to be able to not only distribute your fish to those supermarkets that would take it from you, and you're saying there's a limited amount of those, no restaurants are all closed down, but also for you to be able to sell your fish to individuals out at the waterfront. You are prepared, if the government isn't able to do so, to provide security out there to ensure that there is social distancing, that people keep their distance, and everything. How long of a period do you think that it would take? Do you know how many boats are in now? Because what you'd want to do is to deal with those boats that are in or likely to come in within the next day or so. How many? Because what you would not want this to be for an indefinite period of time, because you don't want to encourage boats to go back out there and then come back and face the similar situation again.
All right, Mr. Orrett Connor, we have one boat out here now that is tied off out here with about 2,500 pound fish left on it.
Mm-hmm. And
my personal boat is coming in with about 4,000 pounds of fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then after my boat, we have 2 more boats coming in.
So we're looking at probably a total of 4 boats, 2 and 6,000, and if the others average about 3,000 pounds each, so you're looking probably about 12,000 pounds of fish. How long on the waterfront, and we know that it is busy on the waterfront, and people now are looking for fresh things as well, plus what they pay in the stores as opposed to what they pay on the waterfront. There's a huge disparity between the two. How long would it take you figure to get rid of that? When I shouldn't use the term get rid of it, but to sell that fish between the waterfront and the stores, how long of a period of time you're looking at for 12,000 pounds of fish?
Well, we're looking like 2 days per boat. If we go some to the supermarket, after that we're looking like 2 days per boat.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Chris. We got some details out of that. Hopefully, something will be able to be worked out. And you heard Mr. Bryan say that he will be in contact with authorities again as well. We're going to take a break. We have 2 or 3 other callers on hold. I have lots of WhatsApp messages as well, but we will get to all of them. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Persons in the Cayman Islands are reminded that shelter-in-place procedures are in effect. If you are not an essential services worker, you must remain at home unless you are going to the supermarket or pharmacy between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. until further notice. Please note that gatherings, parties, and events such as conferences and concerts involving more than 2 persons are not allowed. Until further notice, the shelter-in-place order is in effect and applies to all 3 Cayman Islands. This might be extended if deemed necessary. Although movement will be allowed for essential purposes, shelter at home still requires everyone to remain at home or in their yard space. Breaches upon conviction will attract a $1,000 fine and imprisonment of 6 months. A hard curfew is in effect from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m., meaning that no one except essential services workers is allowed to leave home at any time during the hard curfew period. Stay at home, Cayman.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have 3 callers. We're going to ask the callers to try to please be as brief as possible because there's someone waiting behind you. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, O.C. and Kenny.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You know, I believe that the Premier and the Commissioner of Police must have swallowed Job because patience they have. When answering some of the stupidness I hear come from the media, honest to my God. Now, the Commissioner comes on yesterday and he says that they had pretty much, I think, I don't want to quote verbatim, but he said that the island had basically, cooperated with the hard curfew, and he was reporting that there was 80-something stops and there was 2 in violation, and 1 was arrested for a DUI. And the question comes from the media, and I'm so taken back with stupidity. Well, do you think it's time to stop allowing liquor stores to sell liquor? Bro, you going and get intoxicated is your choice. You can't deprive the entire island because one another decides to go out and become intoxicated and get arrested by the police after breaching a curfew. These are questions that should not even be thought out. Some of the stuff I hear being asked of the Premier. And he sits there so humble and answers them. I mean, honest to God, man, I mean, it must be...
Well, caller, if
journalism is more than that. It's got to be more educated questions being asked during these times.
Yeah. Caller, I pointed out that they need to up their game.
Well, I'll say this. I'm not going to defend the reporters here for a second. The reason I say that is because I was a former reporter. I know what it's like when people from the public ask you to ask questions because they're not sure and they want to, satisfy the listening audience. Because here's the other part that you're not seeing, or that you may have not considered. You know how many hundreds of people have messaged me and said, Kenneth, why in the world is alcohol essential? Because it isn't. But I recognize that if persons who are dependent
It's essential to some.
It's essential to some. Now, for those who don't drink on an often case, it's almost, I think the approach, and the government is not willing to say this because it becomes political and you can get damaged politically. I think what it is we know it's not essential, but those who want a little booze every day to keep their mind straight, sadly, if we were to deprive persons of that now, with all the other stress, the other problems that come along with it will probably be greater. And I think nobody just wants to say that reality because it's not an essential item. But you are right. You highlighted one key point, caller, is it's not the responsibility of the person who's providing the alcohol for them to behave the right way. It's actually the individual. So the police have to deal with those individually, not collectively. Everybody should be penalized because there's some people who go, listen, I have a glass of wine. It calms my nerves. I'm already under enough pressure. So that's the reality of it. And that's why I think some reporters will reiterate the question because nobody is not just saying the obvious answer, which is it's not essential, but we're still doing it because we want everybody to stay calm. Simple.
But can I just, what I'm saying now, you hit a very important point when you said a while ago that you were the reporter too.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, you being a reporter, you should be able to say to people when people ask you questions, you must be able to, and as OC say, you got up your game now because you ought to be able to say to those individuals, but hang on, this question that you asking me, I can tell you right now, for example, you asking me about closing the liquor stores, but this is not the liquor store's problem, this is the individual problem. So I'm not going to ask this question. You got to know what to ask from what, but I can tell you how important the liquor stores is, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you how important the liquor stores is. How many of us went up there running to Cayman Distillery to buy hand sanitizer?
Mm-hmm.
How many of us run up there buy hand sanitizer? How much us went to Blackbeard's to buy hand sanitizer? I was one. But we didn't hear that, right?
Yeah. Caller, on that point, didn't you think that was pretty high? I think at one location it was selling it like for $60. I don't know what the quantity was, but
I bought the one I bought from Blackbeard's was like $15 for a liter. Not a liter. Let me see. No, this was for a liter. I paid $15 for a liter.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad. But I can tell you, there was price gouging, especially on water and in one entity. It was selling you this small bottles of water for like $14 a case, and that is really, really wrong. That's wrong. But I just thought I'd bring that point.
Thank you very much.
Kudos to the government for what they've done thus far.
Yes, agreed.
I'm critical of them, but kudos to them. They've done an excellent job thus far.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Let's grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C. Good morning to MLA or MP, Mr. Kenneth Byrne.
Good morning, sir.
Good to hear him on there, taking care of his people. I agree with that caller a while ago. Well acquainted with him. It's individual responsibility. It's very important. Very, very important. They're selling cigarettes in the supermarkets. Are cigarettes essential? No one can ever tell you that one. Thank you. It amazes me over the last... I must commend the Premier, his patience, as he said, on his
patience of Job.
ability to stay calm in these situations. Well done, Mr. Premier, and the rest of the government. And we have a lot of new heroes to be placed in Hero Square. All those people in the hospitals.
Yes.
From the person who cleaning the bed bands and sweeping up, mopping around people, and everyone facing it, the policemen, the custom, the workers, everyone facing the fire. right in the forefront. Commend them greatly. This is a time when people, you see that we can count on people. I never see this to amaze me, just to touch on another thing quickly, and it's important. How we dance around that important subject I've been preaching for 22 years. It is time. What that lady was saying, she often offers many good suggestions, is direct income tax, but put it in the hands of the private sector? No way. I will repeat that. No way. If you're going to have anything mandatory, and that's where we went wrong, and it's not blaming any one member of government, past, present, future. That's where we went wrong in not doing it anything mandatory out of people's salaries, which we did with the health and the pension, which we know. I don't have to go into the failures and that. In private sector hands.
Understood, caller. We understand what you're saying.
Therefore, there would have been in the coffers just what she said. The unemployment compensation tax, which every country pays. Yes, we know we can always say the government still have to give stimulus in the U.S. and so forth.
Exactly. That was going to be my response to you on that. That even with income tax in other countries, the UK and everywhere else, they still have to step up to the plate otherwise as well. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. We're going to grab one more caller before we go to our break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm calling just to find out where can I find assistance with my school fee. I used to work and pay my school fee, but I'm not working anymore.
Your school fee for yourself, you as a student, or for a child?
For myself as a student.
And your school is continuing to operate now while we're in the lockdown?
Yes, online. My school fee range from between 2,500 CI to 5,200 CI every 3 months.
At a local institution or overseas?
That's a local institution.
And have you been receiving financial aid from the government in relation to that so far?
No, I have been working to pay my school fee every 3 months, that range, but I'm not able to right now. So I would like to find out where can I find assistance.
You would, the Ministry of Education, and they have their scholarship program and whatever. I would advise you to check with them there. But I would caution you, and this is only my opinion, that in these challenging times with so many other things to consider, yours in relation to school fees, that may not be on the top of the list, or maybe not even the 10 top items on the list. But do contact the education department. Ms. Susan, I'm going to squeeze one more call in before the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
And,
good morning.
Morning, O.C.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And I think Canada's there, too.
Yep.
Yes, correct.
O.C., I just want to say I personally think the government is doing a very good job. But there's a couple of areas I think that needs to be addressed for people that, are used to be doing things outside of their garage, and, whether it's in the garage or like myself that, I'm a vehicle freak. I mean, I love my cars and trucks. And, it would really help if, I do purchase a lot of stuff from eBay and Amazon and things like that. So for the last couple of weeks, we've been getting emails from FedEx saying that, your packages are ready. You can come in and pick them up. You just need to pay. And then you call them up, and then they say, well, we're not open. We're actually closed. So they told me must come in on Monday. So I took a chance and I went by there on Monday. The place is open. All of the workers is there. And I gave the guy the number to collect the stuff, and he goes in and come back, and he said, sorry that, the government got us closed down. There's nothing we can do as far as, picking up packages at this point in time. I say, well, your doors are open. All your workers is here. I say, why is that if you're supposed to be closed? Well, we can only receive. The the point I want to make is that if they can be open with all of their workers, all of their vehicles, and the place is open, why can't they say, well, you know what, we should put in place a delivery service, which they do a lot, and say, look, we can charge $10, $15, or $25 for our stuff. Why do our stuff have to sit there? And the auto parts store, I mean, why can't they set up something that, they deliver parts to people at home that is doing their own stuff at home to help to get through this thing and keep their mind at peace? I mean, you can only watch them on TV, right?
That's true.
And I don't do a lot of reading, right? I don't even buy the newspapers anymore because everything pretty much you get from the newspapers is negative. So my garage is my haven. That's where I'm at peace, right? And it's like you, OC, with your bicycle. Something goes wrong with your bicycle and you can't get whatever part you need for it. You can probably go crazy. So I think if the government right now would try to address at least one of the auto parts store, we need to open, just let one customer in at a time, whatever the case may be. People be sensible, stay a distance and all of that, which I'm very careful with, and just try to do something, and especially DHL and the other rest of the people where people can get their packages.
Hear you on that. Good.
Just those for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take a commercial break. We have how many callers on hold, Ms. Susan? 3 callers. We're going to make those the last 3 callers because I have lots of WhatsApp. Mr. Kenneth Brown has a lot he wants to say as well, but I need to balance this thing out and share the WhatsApp and the emails that we're getting as well. So, folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS BRAC Agency in Cayman Brac. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tip.
For persons who think they may have symptoms, you owe it to your family, to your friends, and to the community. You have a moral obligation, if you think that you may have been exposed, to withdraw from community activities and to stay at home until a safe period has expired. The elderly among us are particularly vulnerable, and not isolating in many instances will be the same as imposing upon those people a death sentence. Please understand the seriousness of that. We are encouraging everyone to be as responsible as you can possibly be during this very, very difficult and critical time.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I'm going to play the role of King Solomon now in terms of trying to share things up. We have 3 callers, but we have several emails as well, WhatsApp. One person is complaining again about the speed on the road, the traffic, the cars speeding on the road. This person has written and said, I agree with your comment as to the modeling. Modeling has to be updated as new data is presented, meaning now that we have 12 cases.
14.
Actually, yeah, 14. This person said 12, but we actually have 14. They must run that model again. I agree with you. This morning on the questions you're asking on if we are still seeking help from Public Health England during this new stage of the game, we must insist to have questions answered on how often the modeling is updated and when we could expect to see new data. This should not be a difficult question for them to address. And it urged me to keep up the good work. This one says that during a previous government press briefing, the public was advised by the chief medical officer that a person tested positively for the coronavirus, even though they showed no symptoms. Upon further questioning from the media on how that person was able to get a test, since the HSA told the public that they were only testing people who were already showing the flu-like symptoms.
Good question.
It was relieved that the person needed to go to the United States for a medical procedure, and the requirement for people entering into the United States was that the passenger must provide a test confirming to the government that they are negative. With regards to the air bridge starting next week, bringing Caymanians and permanent residents into Cayman, why won't that same requirement be made on them to go and get tested as well? And they've sent in some more, but it's pretty long, so I just wanted to share at least a part of that.
Quickly answer that.
Go right ahead, Mr.
The person who's going to the United States is not necessarily a United States citizen. If they were a United States citizen, the United States wouldn't be able to obligate them to have a test done. It's a totally different thing when there's Caymanians coming back home. They have obligations under the law, under their constitution, to come back to Cayman if they feel need to. And you can't say to somebody who lives in the UK that okay, if you have AIDS you can't come back home, or if you have cancer or whatever else you can't once you're off the nation. So there's a difference between those two circumstances why one can be asked. That nation doesn't have to accept the person. They can say, I'll accept you, but here's the requirements. I need to know about what your standards are.
And then there was another person who was say that they were a helper, care for the elderly. They're paid through Cineco, and whether or not they will still continue to get their pay through Cineco. Another one had an issue with being limited to the number of similar items, same items that you're allowed to get from the supermarkets. They wanted 3 of each rather than 2. Mm-hmm. It is quite possible that the supermarkets may be in a position to relax that later on, because they have said that they have sufficient. But I think until that happens, people still need to bear in mind that there are others, waiting to shop as well. And, we still have to be mindful of that.
The thing is, like, I mean, I agree with that. A person can only shop so much until their money run out, right? So I think that
some people may have endless amounts.
That is true. But like, say, for instance, essentials, water, bread, egg, cheese, those kinds of things, limit those. But the other stuff, I think you should open that, because what it then does is stop a person from having to come back in 2 days. Because if you give them 2 bottles of milk or 2 of something, and there's a family of 3 at home, it may be done and they're forced to come back again. And that's maybe why we're having so many lines, because people are constantly have to come back quite often, as opposed to before. You buy as much as you need for a week's worth and then don't have to go back again.
Okay. Sorry. This one is extremely important, and then we'll take the calls. This one says, can you ask your host, I think they mean guest, how will we be able to beat the COVID-19 if we keep compromising the process that is aimed at preventing the community's spreading? Did these fishermen/women know of the curfew prior to them acquiring their catch? And if they didn't, why should they know? I must say that many of those boats went out before the hard curfews were put in place. And then they go on to say, so the fish people need exemption. Auto parts people want exemption. Who else? Landscapers? Where will this end? And are we taking this seriously? Good point. Let's grab a caller. Caller, good morning.
No, we got
to
deal with that.
Yeah, we will answer that.
Okay.
Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
And good morning to Mr. Bryan.
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Bryan, I know I have short time, but quickly, let me just say thank you for the wonderful job that you're doing in spreading the word.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, I made 4 little subjects, and I'll just touch on them very quickly because I know you're running out of time. The police. I personally believe that the police are being absolutely too lenient on people who are breaking the curfew. I think they just need to start locking up, and at least if they get them off the street, you won't have them out again. And the public can also help the police to police. As citizens, we have that right. Okay? So I'm going to move on to the banks. The banks need to consider what they have in place right now. There's just one location open and limited hours. That is not working. Even with the name division, it's not working. And then no one is answering the phone. If someone was manning the phones, it would even perhaps help them to cut down on the amount of people who need to come to the bank, because obviously not everything can be done at an ATM. So they may want to take that into consideration. And if they insist on only having one location open, they certainly need to revise the banking hours. And I'm going to move on to the media. I think the media needs to ask more aggressive, relevant questions regarding this whole crisis that we're going through. Don't be intimidated by anyone and don't back down. And if you ask the question and you're not getting the answer, thank them for the information, but ask them to answer the question. We, the listening public, that's the problem we're finding with some of this. Not from all of them, but I don't really want to call names and point fingers now. The last thing I need is any more enemies.
Yeah, and caller, if I may interject there, and the good thing about it is that they don't have to endure the wrath like our reporters in the United States in terms of Donald Trump when they ask a hard question.
You're telling them that they're not.
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you. I don't want to call his name either. I'm like whooping. I try not to. And because I've been listening to everything, and you know they seem to be intimidated and backing down. And
the fourth point, your fourth.
What they need to bear in mind also is that these people work for either a news outlet or with a paper or Radio Cayman or whomever. They want to get the word out there too, and of course everybody wants to have the right information so that it can make their headline news. But more importantly, we are listening, and they're asking questions that we want to hear the answers to also. And I want to agree with MLA Bryan when he said, do it in layman's terms. Say it as Denzel Washington had said, speak to me as if I'm a 5-year-old. Then the other thing that I want to say, and it ties in with media, and that is, I'm not happy with, I'm not going to call names again here, I think we know who we're talking about, when certain people, I don't know if they're calling them moderators, MCs or whatever, open the press conference. That's where the questions from the public are going, and they're not being asked. And what I am seeing is a very condescending attitude towards those questions. And sometimes the questions coming from the public are the better questions and more relevant and important questions which we demand answers for. So it shouldn't be up to that person to decide. They're not going to read the question, but instead refer the person to go to the website.
Exactly. I agree with you 100% on that one.
We, as a nation, under a crisis, and I'm speaking loudly here now, we do not accept that. We will not accept that. Talk to us, be open with us, be fluid with us. We only want to know exactly where we're at and when we're there.
Yep. Caller, want to
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have to take a commercial break, and we're going to have probably about 10 minutes left after that. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman.
You're pressing for everyone to use their good conscience. Don't be selfish in respecting the suggested distance of 6 feet and the washing of hands constantly. Please check on your neighbors and especially our elderly. Also, persons who have chronic lung disease, diabetes, bronchitis, cancer, or asthma. Check on your family members and isolate them soonest as possible. I ask those persons who smoke until it's clear, please do not put anything in your lungs that are not natural. You may well be increasing your risks. This includes vaping. Self-isolation is very important for our country's ability to bounce back quickly to some normalcy. This disease is not prejudice.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, MLA Mr. Kenneth Brown. We still have 2 callers and not a whole lot of time left. First caller, please. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, Mr. Ozil?
Yes, sir. I want you to be as quick as possible because we don't have a whole lot of time.
Just a short suggestion.
Okay.
I am concerned about the fishermen. I don't think they're getting as fair a deal in this way that you go to the supermarket, you stand in line, 6 feet away, you go inside and buy your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go to a fish market downtown, you can have the 2 people that's selling, one on each end of the table. It's more than 6 feet apart. And they clean, someone by the waterfront, clean the fish, put it in the middle of the table. So all someone has to do, drive in the car, walk down there on each side, buy their fish, and leave. At no time in them it's within 6 feet of each other. There's no long line. Most people will be in their cars. All you need is somebody directing the traffic. As they come up, get their fish, they leave. And I wouldn't give preference to people like the hospital workers or something. So I cannot see the reason why. I mean, the fish is a very necessary thing to most people on the island. And I do not see, maybe somebody can show me why, I don't see the restrictions on these fishing boats to come in anyway, right? And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Last caller for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I normally don't call into this show. It's a very rare occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I have a couple of points I would like to raise. The government have closed down the custom brokerage system. People have parts now sitting in the port authority. Time is running up on them. And I don't know what stance the Port Authority is going to take in regards to that, whether they have been instructed by government if these parts have been there. People didn't have time to get these parts out. If they're still going to be charged for storage, which I think would be very wrong. That's one point. I think we should look into that. Furthermore,
if you want information on that, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but I want to give it to you as quickly as possible. Yesterday, the Port Authority issued something, and it says here that the Port Authority wishes to advise the public that due to space limitations, it will issue an exemption letter to allow persons that have imported cargo to clear and collect their goods. The exemption letter will be for a specific date and time and is valid only for the collection of cargo. And to request the exemption letter, persons that have imported goods are asked to call the Port Authority Billing Office 949-2055, 914-3789, or 914-3786. I hope that helps.
It certainly does. Any information that is good information should help. I would like to know, in regards to what you just said, how do we go about paying for these things to get them out? I approached the custom broker up until, I think it was last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, and they said that no goods had been released by customs. And now the custom brokerage is closed down. So
rather than using a custom broker, this allows you to get that exemption letter to be able to go there and collect it yourself, because based on the other call, it seems as if the customs brokers' hands may be tied, but they're allowing individuals to be able to do it.
Okay, that's good to know, and I thank you very much for that information. I definitely will look into that matter.
And did you get those numbers that you can call?
I will go to Port Authority. I know the Port Authority number fairly well.
Excellent.
One more thing.
Sure.
A couple more things. I think the police is doing a fairly good job, and I would like to commend them for that. But I also believe that the Commissioner of Police needs to make a little briefing with these guys to try to be a little bit more courteous and have a sensible approach to people, and bearing in mind that they are public servants, not public masters. So that's one more thing. And another thing on the coronavirus now, part is affecting us all. I noticed that in some of the briefings, they did give specifics about the coronavirus situation out at Health City. They were very specific about that, the quantity of people that had it there, how they were coming on, etc., etc. But in other briefings, where they have found cases, they have been hesitant to let the people know where these cases was located. They don't have to give specifics or people's name. I don't believe that, because these things will carry a sort of stigma. But I believe that if we have information that is valuable, you may say, well, I may need to go around that area, so I'm going to try to postpone that as long as I can, if I definitely need to go in that vicinity.
Exactly. If you know where the threat is, you can avoid it. Yes.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that look like government are trying to sabotage that city by giving out so much information about them, and then when it comes down to the general public, they are hesitant to say, well, this thing was located, these cases were located in Bordentown or West Bay or Georgetown, etc., etc. And again, I would like to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and I hope you call in more often, because you do have some very useful things to say. I don't know what prevented you from calling in before, but whatever it is.
Listen to me. I would like to thank the Public Health Services. I think they're doing the best they can. But again, I would like also to say to you and to anybody else, leave the United States politicians, their leadership, and stuff like that out of this thing. Because
we don't want to follow what they're doing.
Remember this. You, me, and everybody else here in Grand Cayman, the United States has been the lifeline for this place for many, 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 many decades, long time before I come into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So
that don't mean that we can't be critical of them.
They have their negatives, but I'm telling you what, there's a lot more positives comes out there than negatives.
Okay,
so just be careful.
Thank you very much. Free speech. We will criticize where criticism needs to be applied. Mr. Brian.
OC, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be on the show. I think there was two things I wanted to say in respect to a comment that came in about, how far we want to go with allowing things. First it was the tires and the garage, and then the fishermen. And I even got a request from an office supply company who said, listen, people are working from home and they need computer ink, they need paper. Can there be exemptions there? And I think that the government has been handling this very well, and they're saying, listen, things are not concrete, they're fluent. If they can make changes, they can make changes. That's why the discussion is happening. Obviously, every decision is made with some risk involved, and this delivery concept may be a good one. You're doing delivery for fish. Maybe if we're going to, particularly because the Premier said, we might be down this road for about 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to have to see some ways of allowing certain things to happen, particularly the office supplies one, because there's so many companies who are working from home, and that's the only local economy that's going. So the employers are paying them to work from home and keep work going. And your office stuff usually is at your office. And if they're eventually going to run out, and you know how I know that is because when I was printing my statements today to come on the show, I go, hold on, my ink is almost done. My daughters, how are they going to print out their work? Mm-hmm. So these things start to develop and come along, and you come to recognizing that what's going to happen. The other part is, what happens if you blow out your tire tomorrow or today on the way home, OC? How are you going to get home?
Spare.
Okay. Good answer. But let's say you blow it too. What are you going to do? So there's some things to consider, and the government has been dealing with this well. They express and say, listen, if there's ways that we can keep the risks low, we'll figure it out. What my problem with, in respect to the fishermen, is this: if you're going to make a decision, fine, whatever the decision is. You're the government. You're the executive. You've made it on behalf of the people. Make it. You can't make promises to people to say, listen, we're going to talk about something, and then don't call them back. They're Caymanians, and they're my Caymanians, and they're out on the waterfront. They want answers. Call them back. Explain what they can do to get it going, and if they can't, because you think it's too risky, just say, I'm sorry, you can't get it. Don't keep them in limbo. Yeah. That's the important point. The last thing I'm going to say before I go, I'm a little uncomfortable with, I'll leave that one alone for now and see what happens in the future. It was a pleasure to be here with you on the show today. I want to remind the listening public, please, 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 it's so important that you pay attention to the press briefings. No, you don't know what kind of information may come out there that will save your life. Make it your duty every day. At least for now, it's going to be every day at 2 o'clock. Until further notice, try to see if you can put aside time. If you're still at work, make it be your lunch break. Matter of fact, I think every radio station in this country, every single one, should be playing the press conference. Every TV station should be playing the press conference. Repeat it as well at 2 o'clock. Now, I've spoken to the governor about that, and I don't know where it's at, but I don't see why all the other radio stations should be playing music. The most important thing is what the government is saying right now about this national emergency. That's my thoughts. If there's any constituents, any Georgetown Central constituents that want to be on my broadcast list of key information and details about what the government is doing, please add me on your WhatsApp. Just give me your name and just send me a message saying, this is John Blow. I live in this area. Can you please add me to your WhatsApp group? Because all of my constituents, I try to keep them informed as to what the government is doing, when the press conference is up, what new regulations and curfews and points and all those things. So my number is 926-0005. Again, 926-0005. For anybody who lives in Georgetown Central, please add me on your WhatsApp so I can send you the information about what's going on. God bless you all. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Good morning, sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brian. I'm having mic problems here, but I think we got it sorted out. Again, I want to thank everyone for listening in. Give a big shout out to all of those on the front line, our politicians, everyone doing a great job. But there's lots that the public will have to offer as well in terms of suggestions, and we want to listen to those as well. And we try to use here on For the Record to pass that information out, to give it out. People are listening. And we see in some instances the powers that be do take heed, and as a result of suggestions that are made, certain policies are implemented that help. But like we said, it's a fluid situation, and you have to keep making adjustments as you go, because this is something that no one has ever faced before, not only here in the Cayman Islands, but throughout the world as well. Folks, please stay safe. Continue to act as if you yourself have the virus, which means your social distancing and everything else. Remember, the press briefing at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We believe that we're seeing more quality questions being asked as well. And we, again, want to say, up the game, keep up the good work, stay safe, God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.